So Chipotle stock took a beating today because same-store sales did not hit what Wall Street was targeting. I mean, sales are still up 13% year over year, but they have had their share of issues this year, including a bunch of backlash online when a Wells Fargo analyst ordered 75 different like-for-like burrito bowls at various locations, and he then weighed each one to see portion sizes. Let's just say consistency was seriously lacking. This created a lot of backlash online and even prompted Chipotle to respond. I even noticed at my local Chipotle that they put out new spoons to help measure the appropriate portion. You see, I live in Newport Beach, California, which is where Chipotle has been headquartered since 2018 when the former CEO, who is now head of Starbucks, made Chipotle move from their hometown of Denver, Colorado to where they are today, which is Newport Beach, California. It's basically where he wanted to live. So because of that, and with the headquarters nearby, the stores that I frequently go to are actually often testing grounds for new products, new menu items, and all sorts of stuff that Chipotle wants to test before rolling it out to the rest of the country. But unfortunately, we're also home to some of the highest burrito prices in the entire country. And that's precisely where my rant starts. Look, I know inflation has been super high the past few years, and I know that not only food costs have gone up, but so have wages for employees, making overall employee costs rise quite a bit. I totally get all of that. But here's the problem. My burritos are now running anywhere from $13 to $18, depending on what I put inside, whether it's chicken or steak, and if I add guac or not. And it also depends on which store I go to. It's not even consistent across the different stores. These costs have certainly outpaced inflation and really should be chalked up as pretty much corporate greed and trying to hit growth targets that Wall Street's setting. Let's face it, Chipotle is no longer a good deal. It's not like Chipotle is the best burrito in the world. It's not. But up until the past year or so, it was a great deal on a quick meal that had relatively healthy ingredients. But now that value proposition is completely gone. And I truly believe this is the root cause of Chipotle's issues. Chipotle has always been a middle school, even elementary school, high school, and college favorite. And when I was back in grade school, it was a filling option for me for a great value. I mean, for me, back in college, even with guac, my burrito was only $8, and that was a great deal. But now the cost of the burrito is more than double, which has far surpassed the inflation rate, so it's no longer a great deal. I mean, why would I continue to eat there every week when there are alternatives now, like Kava, that are cheaper and just as healthy? Or even just simply cooking. You could probably make the exact same burrito for a lot cheaper. Chipotle, on their own earnings call this week, said that across all income cohorts, as the company's value proposition is resonating with diners, people come to Chipotle for what it is that we offer, which is premium ingredients at a really fair price point. But I beg to disagree. Everybody that I've talked to say they have seen the value of the brand diminish and that they don't go there as often because costs have gone up so much. By comparison, back in the day, I used to eat Chipotle a lot. I also used to eat Whole Foods sandwiches a lot because there was one near me. The Whole Foods sandwich back in the day was about $9. Chipotle at the time was right around there as well, as $9 or $10. Now, Chipotle is $13 to $18, as I mentioned before, depending on where you go and what you get. And Whole Foods has only gone up to $11. So I know that there's a way to figure out sourcing for quality ingredients that doesn't drive costs up as much as Chipotle has. And look, maybe we're getting older, maybe our preferences are changing, but when I compare visiting Chipotle back in the day to visiting Chipotle now, for whatever reason, they seem a lot less busy. I remember we used to go to Chipotle, we'd have to wait in line. Sometimes the line would reach the doors or it'd go all the way outside, and you'd honestly be waiting a decent amount of time to get your burrito. But nowadays, you can just walk right up and there's very few people, if any, before you get to see somebody start making your burrito. And it's great being able to get a burrito quicker, but what's odd is Chipotle's new CEO says that he wants to focus on faster service. I would actually argue that he just needs to focus on bringing the value proposition of Chipotle back. It was one of the few relatively healthy options for under $10 for a long time. And now it's almost $20. Again, I get that I live in an expensive area. I get that prices have gone up. And I get that we've been facing inflationary pressures. But Chipotle is also a major food player with sourcing advantages over other groups and local restaurants to help keep their ingredient prices down. Not to mention, lately we've been seeing grocery prices start to come down from their peak inflation points. And I would truly be shocked if Chipotle also isn't seeing cost of their own goods start to come back down as well. So why haven't prices followed suit? I truly believe that they would have much more volume and even protect their own revenue by just lowering prices a little bit to get more people through the door and enjoying their food again. There's an inflection point in business where you start raising prices and customer visits start going down. And when those cross, it can be really bad news for a business. Basically, your revenue stops growing from raising prices as it had been and starts to fall or become stagnant just due to consumer pushback and lower store visits. And I honestly believe Chipotle is headed that way if they don't do something soon. The new CEO probably thinks he's making inroads on efficiency, probably because there's less people in the restaurants to begin with. So the line is, yeah, it's moving a lot faster. But if the CEO really wants to increase efficiency, why not just look into like one of those grid meat slicers rather than having some dude chopping the chicken and steak every minute. After all, their two most popular meat choices are chicken and steak, but both options are essentially cubed when you order them to go in your burrito. Somebody's chopping them into squares. And again, they're currently being chopped by hand. A grid slicer would certainly speed things up, and it would get them to stop cutting on plastic cutting boards, basically spewing microplastic into your meal. I mean, after all, who wants to eat a burrito with a bunch of microplastic in it anyway? That's just one simple idea. But at the end of the day, you gotta remember that Chipotle's success story essentially took off from one core concept: provide healthy, well-sourced food for a budget-friendly price. That's something that really didn't exist, 10, 15 years ago, but now there's quite a bit of competition. I mean, everybody back then thought that Subway was healthy, which it's not, and Chipotle was kind of the new kid on the block that offered a well-packed burrito or burrito bowl for less than $10. It was nutritious, it used ingredients cooked right in front of you, and they championed ethical sourcing, which they still do, but the prices have skyrocketed. The old Chipotle was generous with portions and customer service was great, but now you get varying portions depending on what location you're at. The guac is usually somewhat brown now because they aren't getting enough people through the door, so it's not turning over as often. And the total value of the meal is completely gone. $18 for a steak burrito with guac is absolutely ridiculous when I can go to a place around us called Puesto, for example, a sit-down restaurant, and get a much better burrito for a cheaper price. Okay, listen, Chipotle. This is for you. If you want to fix your business model, it's very simple. Don't focus on speed right now. Focus on bringing value back to your brand without skimping on quality. Watch your stores fill with customers, your sales volumes start to increase, and your revenue will be protected. After all that, then work on implementing new efficiency strategies. It'll be amazing how quickly it'll take off on social media that prices are coming down, and it's gonna get people back in your doors. Using Whole Foods as an example, I go to Whole Foods for lunch, I get a sandwich, a side, and a drink for less than $14. If I go to Chipotle, I get one burrito for more than that. And it doesn't even include a drink or a side. It's pretty simple. Give people value, you'll get them through the door, and help build back your brand loyalty. Anyway, that's it for my rant. Let me know if you guys agree in the comments. I still love Chipotle every now and again. I'm just not going as frequently as I used to, just purely due to the prices. But anyway, guys, I post a lot of videos about investing, money tips, travel, business, stuff like this. Anyway, if you would consider subscribing, really appreciate it. If not, hopefully you'll catch another video in the future. But until then, thanks again for watching today's video. I'll see you next time.